So in this part, in creating the color scale and the proportional scale, we're going to focus on creating a color scale at the side here. So to do this, I'm going to scroll down and create my first plugin. Here is a comma, we say plugins, and then we make here an array. I'll make an array here, but you always use an array, but in this case, we need an array definitely because we will have 2 plugins. But by default, it's always an array. So let's call this our color scale. I'm going to copy this. Then I'm going to say here, / color scale plugin block. Then I'm going to say a constant color scale equals the ID of color scale. Then we're going to select when would we like to draw this. We'll say after the data sets draw, we will draw the color scale. So chart, arcs, and plugins. Then what I will do here is an object destructuring. So I'm going to say a constant, and then we say here curly braces equals chart. So that's our chart object. And then in here, what will we need? We'll need the CTX, we'll need the chart area, and we'll say here top, bottom, left, right, and I think maybe we need the width. Let's get the width and the height. And I think we have it all. Probably we'll need the configuration later on, but we'll see on that one. Well, what I do need here is space, because you can see here this will be very close by here. So what I want to do is I want to move this more to the or at least move this chart area right line more to the left. So we're going to say here padding. No, not padding like that, but we say layout, because we're going to adjust the layout. We'll say here padding, and then I'm going to say in the padding object I want the right side to have an additional, I want to make it 150 pixels. We might need maybe lesser, but I think 150 should be more than enough. And the reason why is, this is a lot of space, but the reason why is I want to have the line here, or the color scale here, and later on we have the proportional scale here besides. So what we're going to do is go up here, and probably this value should be considered and be calculated later on as well. So probably we'll need here, I guess, I can already prepare that. We'll need the configuration, and in the configuration, and if you're wondering why the config, because the config is here, into the options, and within the options, what I need here is the layout. So I'll just put it like that, so we are well prepared later on. Alright, so what I want to do now is start to draw. And what we need is, the first thing is to draw a shape. So I'm going to say here CTX, I'm going to say here fill rectangle, and this fill rectangle is a command where you immediately create a rectangle with a background color, and that's what we need. So we're going to say here we need 2 or 4 values, the X and the Y, and then we have here the width, how many pixels in width, and the height. So since we know here the height, because of this here, which is the chart area, very useful. If you don't understand chart area, I have a video about understanding chart area in chartjs. It's in the description box as well. So we have like that. We want to have maybe a 10 pixel bar. So we have a bar somewhere here, and then the position we have to figure out here. So right now we do know the position would be the right side, but what we need to do is plus the right padding. That's why I have this layout here. So we can say here from layout dot padding dot right. If I do this, I'll just grab this 150 pixels. Here for the Y, where do I want to start? I want to start here at the very top, going down in a vertical level. So I'm going to say here top. If I save this, refresh, let's see here, no errors. Probably we don't get it because it's just outside of the area. And the reason why is because this here is the right side plus there, it's just outside the canvas. How can we make sure it is visible? We're going to say minus 10 pixels. There we are. So now it is visible and it's a nice 10 pixel thick bar. Maybe we can even do 20 pixel. We can see here, or if I do 20 here, I need to make sure that this will be 20 as well. I feel like that is slightly too big. 10 pixels is more than sufficient. refresh, there we are. Alright, next what I want to do now is applying the color. So how do we do this? Well, we have here the ctx.fillStyle, and we can say here the color. I'm going to grab here the color. By default, I'll put in this color, but I need to make this gradient. So I'm going to save this, refresh. You can see here we have this. This is all nice, but what I really want is I want the color here to be dark or solid, and then here down it will become almost transparent. So how do we do this? Well, what we can do here is basically the following. We're going to use here the gradient. So what I'm going to say here is constant gradient background, or BG, and then this constant gradient we want to use here the CTX, and we're going to say create linear gradient. And why linear? Because we want to have just a solid line from up all the way down. And so once we do this, what we'll need here is 4 variables: the x, the y, the width, and the height. Basically same story. What we can do here is we do 0, 0. And the reason why is this will trigger the horizontal level. And we don't need that. We only need to make sure that it goes from top to bottom, changing the color. So we have here the y. Our starting position will be here. And if you all wonder, well, wouldn't it start here if I do 0? That is correct. However, it doesn't really matter because it will only be drawn on here. So we're going to say here, I want to start at the top, like that. And the height will be the height here. Once I did that, we're not done yet. Then what I need to do here is define the color. So I'm going to say your gradient BG, and then what are the colors here? Oh, I need to make here add color stop. And this gradient BG is here, but then here the color stop we have basically 2 variables. First one is the percentage from where it starts. It can be from vary from 0% all the way to 100. And 0 and 100 is relative here based on the height that we calculate and the width, if ever there would be a width on here. But since we have a width of 0, doesn't matter. It's just focus on the height. That's the most important one. So what I want to do here is at the very top, I want to have a solid color. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this color, which is the solid color. So we can grab that. So 0% at the very top. If this would be bottom, 0% would start at the bottom. So, and then that would go up or down depending on what you define it. But now it's the top, and it draws from top to bottom. So top will be solid. And then what I want to do is I want to grab this. I will say, and there's another color, and this color will define the gradual transition. And I'll say at the very bottom, or 100%, it should become 0 here, or fully transparent. Once I did this, I'm going to grab this gradient background constant, put it in here, save, refresh, and as you can see here, that gets, but I am not fully satisfied with this one here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the amount of transparency here, and maybe here down as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab this, so it will just look a bit more better. I will say here at 0.80, the transparency will be, let's say, 0.3. And then at 1, it will become fully. Yeah, I'm not really satisfied with that. Let's make this 9. Alright, so I'm afraid that that is not really that nice. You can see here it does really work. But anyway, if this is not really satisfying, maybe I'll just do it like that then. So I will not make it fully transparent, but it will be very light. I guess we can just even remove this one if we don't need this anymore. Like that. So it's slightly visible. Slightly. So now we have this, and I guess what we need to do next is having a value up and down, and it will be in the next video.